Alright. Last second, not in a calendar game. It's Motlee versus Steen. I might not be able to look at the teams before we get into the game. Actually, I think I won't be able to at all, so I'm going straight in. It's High Elves versus Dark Elves. This should be a fun one. Where are they? Here they are. So we got Motlee versus Steen. Steen's name goes against, or Steam's team name wasn't allowed in my Twitch title. So I couldn't do it in my Twitch title, so I just get Motlee's High Elves and Steen's High Elves and Motlee's Dark Elves. The High Elves had inducements. They picked up a Babe, and they picked up Moronian, which brings them up to a pretty healthy 14 players for Pro Elves. Wait, this is Pro Elves, not High Elves. I was told these are Pro Elves. Or at least that's what it looked like when I pulled up rel.net. Yeah, we have a pretty nice complement of catchers. Viracle movement 10 is really nice. Should be a nice one-turning piece, which will be a big deal in an elf off. It's a normal wrestle catcher. This guy's probably going to be pretty expendable. He'll be the random scoring threat out, I believe, if there is a need for him. Blodge Dauntless is an interesting catcher. I probably wouldn't have gone Dauntless here, but I also don't know what Motlee's division looked like, and he might have needed that. Or not Motlee, Steen. I don't know what Steen's division looked like. Two pretty standard blitzers. Guard is really nice, especially after a dodge. Blodge Step Guard is ridiculous, and throwing Diving Tackle on there just cuts. And we got Blodge Step, Diving Tackle, Tackle. Both excellent pieces for this matchup. But sadly, there is no Mighty Blow for the Pro Elves. Now we look at Motlee, and the two things my eye immediately goes to are the Palm Witch and the Agi 5 Blodge Guard. Yeah, Dauntless is never a bad option, look lazy. But it's interesting to throw it onto a Blodge catcher at his like third level. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, we can start with the witches. The Palm Tackle Witch is ridiculous, and it's going to be a very important piece in this game. I expect Steen to try and set up frenzy traps for his witch if he has an important piece that's kind of exposed. Because Palm on frenzy means you might be able to bait her in. The other witch is movement 8 with wrestle, which is just a nice witch. It's nothing crazy compared to the other one. For all four blitzers, one Blodge Tackle Guard, one Blodge Step Fend, the Blodge Guard Agi 5 blitzer, which is incredible, and then another Blodge Tackle Guard. This is an elf team with 1, 2, 3, 4 guard and a Palmer. This is a very bashy elf team. Yeah, Spoonie, I'm with you on this one. These Dark Elves are great. And they'll be defending first. So, if Luke Lazy, or if... I just woke up like half an hour ago. If Steen doesn't push his scoring advantage over the Dark Elves and run up the score early, he's going to find himself quickly running out of players. Oh, Skips, you're missing out then. High TV Elf-Offs are some of my favorite games. This is going to be less of an Elf-Off and more of a Dark Elf murdery. Oh, well, I say that. There's a dead lineman right off the bat. It's not going to get appoed, of course, but it means that the bench has already been eaten through for the Dark Elves. It's just a normal lineman, though. It's not this very important guard lineman, who is only movement busted. That's fine. I didn't check for other injuries on this team's. And the Dark Elves are healthy. There's a movement busted wrestler. Who cares? Yeah, only one move bust for each team, and they're both. I mean, the guard player is a good player. The wrestle player you don't really care about. I don't expect this numbers advantage for Pro Elves to remain for the game. Not with the Palm Witch kicking around, and not with the Armor 8 versus Armor 7, and that's a reroll. You have to reroll that with the Agi 5 kicking around right there. And he's lucky that's not Snakes. Because if that's Snakes, this Agi 5 piece runs back and picks up the ball, and throws it back to the Dark Elves, and you just lose at that point, because then the Dark Elves get 2 offensive drives. Yeah, the 2 throwers are definitely underdeveloped on this Pro Elf team. I believe, yeah, he has to have taken a thrower def recently. But if I had to choose between developed catchers or developed blitzers versus developed throwers, I'd definitely go with catchers and blitzers any day of the week. Because those pieces are your core. A thrower can do well enough with agility 4 and pass. Something to note, which is rare in an elf off, there's no sure hands on either team, and there's no strip ball on either team. It's very rare that you see this in an elf off. So yeah, like I was saying, I thought, what's his face? Steen was gonna do. There is no targets here for the Witch that aren't going to be a frenzy trap, except for this lineman here. And the reason I'm saying this is a frenzy trap is because this player can step back here or step up here or something. This player can move around to where if it doesn't get knocked down, if it gets blitzed by the Witch, either it gets knocked down first and the Witch is in base contact, and this player can move here, so the Witch has to do extra dodges. And we aren't going for this player with a Witch, I don't think, based on that. Or you don't get the knockdown and suddenly this thing is just move you deep into elf territory. And you're screwed. So I don't see the Witch going after this. I would like to see maybe the thrower is getting hit. Maybe the guard piece gets hit. This honestly wouldn't be a bad Witch Elf target either, going after his only guard. We're going to see him go after the thrower instead, which is going to be not a scary frenzy because of both downs. Oh, Messias, thanks for reminding me. I meant to play with this last game. This is covering the turn timer. There we go. Yep, we're just below 500 signups this season for Rebel. Let's make that push hit 500. Yeah, we were around 650 last season. Would be awesome if we can hit 500 by the end of a round. I think after this game I'm going to go back and see where we were on signups at this point of last season, because that'd be an interesting number to look at, or this point of last postseason. There's a free POW on the guard blitzer. Getting that blodger out of dodge, but no damage for a blitzer. Oh, that number might be off. Okay. No, it's just on rebel.net. Oh yeah, now rebel.net is down. Yeah, it quite literally just went down. Because I was on it right before the game checking the teams. Nah, fair enough, look lazy. Oh, Skips, have you not played since that old college team? If you're looking to get back into it, you can definitely get into minors. I don't think they'd have an issue with that down over Rebel. Oh, Slade, wouldn't that be lovely? I'd love to take my High Elves against an all-Noblar team. It's an aggressive Witch Elf. I fully expect that Witch Elf to have a bad time. Where is... Well, this Blitzer's tied up. Not that tied up, though. He is on tackle. It'd be a GFI to hit with Moranian, or the ball carrier just blitzes her, which is scary. There isn't actually very much tackle that can go and get her. That's something I didn't notice on this elf team. There's only 2 tackle on the movement 10 catcher and the blodge step diving tackle piece. Not counting Moranian. Making the pickup for Moranian an even bigger deal. Because there's a lot of dodge on that elf team, on that dark elf team. Yeah, Skips, that sounds like the kind of dumb team that I would just laugh while playing. Yep, Moranian's gonna go back and tie up that Witch Elf. We'll see if she eats a blitz as well. I wouldn't hate blitzing her. It's just a matter of how do you get the player over there. You would stand this guy up, punch this blodger with your catcher, and that'll leave room for this blitzer to come down and deal with it. Oh yeah, all skink teams are actually like semi-competitive too. It's great. There we go. The catcher will move the dodge lineman, the blodge lineman even, out of the way. We can move this wrestle piece. I mean, it's just a 2+ dodge to blitz the witch. And off he goes. And a double skull he eats. Steen already down to 2 rerolls, started with 4. Only getting a stun for his troubles. That's not how you want to start a Blood Bowl elf off. Yeah, I love seeing elf scrums. I always get interesting little plays in it. But that being said, the Dark Elves have... like, if these 2 teams get in a scrum, the Dark Elves win. They have the armor, they have the guard, and they have the Mighty Blow. I don't know how I feel about Steen taking this slow. I still kind of want to see him be aggressive and try and run that score up while he can. Because the way I see his game going is him losing a few key players. And then Motlee just being able to run away with it. That's my prediction, at least. Exactly. This is the kind of game the Dark Elves want to play. They want the Pro Elves to make an 8-turn offense. If this Witch is alive, they can drive a 1-turn. If they get that 1-turn, they can set up a pretty rock-solid offense themselves. Exactly. If you score early, the Dark Elves try and 2-1 grind you. But they don't have the full 8 turns. They're going to have to move quickly, and the Pro Elves have the pieces to deal with you moving quickly. They have that movement 10 wrestler who can get wherever he wants. They have Moranian as much as he'll do. Looks like we're going after a movement 5 wrestler. Leaves us room to get out that won't get piled on. And yeah, cage dives are an option for this Pro Elf team. There is no leap, sadly. It is one thing this Pro Elf team is missing, and what I imagine this Movement 10 guy would have been looking at had he not rolled Movement 10. This Dark Elf team definitely won't be fouling. It had one piece on the pitch that could foul, and that piece is dead. So yeah, the Pro Elves could definitely be aggressive with dives if they wanted to. There is still this other rookie here, who, if it hits a pitch, will probably wind up fouling something like the Movement 10 catcher if it tries to go in. No POW this time. It looks like Steen knew exactly what he was going to do when he got hit here. I don't want to see Motlee send another piece into the backfield, because it's going to have the exact same thing happen to it that the Switch Elf did. That being said, all three tackle pieces are indisposed, and this Witch Elf is just able to kind of... It's exposed. This Witch Elf is very exposed right now. But it can get away with it because all the tackle is way over here, or carrying the ball. And the Witch Elf can reach all the way back here now, so the ball's either going to have to move to safety or move back. And I don't know if I like sending the Agi 5 back right now. Because now this is just... This player gets blitzed. The ball moves maybe back here if he really wants to be safe. Yeah, see, we're going to put the diving tackle on and we're going to blitz with Moranian. If we don't knock it down, which we don't, we put you right on the tackle, diving tackle. Oh, we don't? We're going for a follow-up. I think I'd rather just have him safely on the tackle, diving tackle. I guess it is Agi 5. So that's only like a 3+, so never mind. Okay, I do like that hit. I had to work through that in my head. That's surf. That's not surf. That's safe ball. Yeah, that's a safe ball. We could see this witch run out to like down here though. And then the Pro Elves are in real trouble. And the Agi 5 could dodge through as well. In fact, if Steen doesn't bring players back now to protect that ball, the Dark Elves are going to run around the Pro Elves and screen off the ball from the rest of the team, I think. This is a Movement 10 ball carrier right now. So it's hard to screen off from running around the whole play and chucking it, and then the Dark Elves are out of position. But I'd be surprised if you don't see this Witch Elf back center field. Maybe this Blitzer run over here, and this Agi 5 midfield. Unless the Pro Elves come back and screen now. And it looks like we might be gearing up for a foul. Or at least we might have been, had we made that dodge. So this Agi 5 piece is only looking at 3+, or 2+ through tackle, 2+, 2+. Miss Witch Elf is looking at 3+, 2+. Miss Witch can go wherever she wants. This Blitzer can basically go wherever he wants. I expect this lineman to take this hit to free up a Blitzer and not have him make a dodge, and it looks like he's doing that right now. I wouldn't hate blitzing this catcher and running some players down to threaten the ball, make him make a move. But I think at max, Motlee can only commit 3 players to that, because otherwise it's a Movement 10 ball carry. He can get around, he can make a hole in your screen to pass through to avoid the intercept threat. And yeah, it looks like we are going to see Motlee take on Miss Catcher. I expect this piece to get piled on, even if it doesn't break. But we do get our break without Mighty Blow, I believe. Yep, Mighty Blow not used. KO, so we won't pile that on. And the Witch Elf can run back into safety. There's one catcher down. There's one more on the floor here. And there's a ball carrier. I definitely wouldn't hate throwing maybe this guy. Just drop him like right here to keep him on the catcher and leaving this blodge lineman here to keep him trapped. But Steen won't be able to pass the ball off to a catcher now. Because if he does, this catcher would have to get downfield first, and that's going to be ugly. And we are seeing the Palmer. The Palmer is going to threaten the ball, but is also going to be very exposed to a blitz next turn. Unless she gets help now. We are definitely going to have Marinian marked. He's not going to get out of that, so it is a 2+ with Loner now to hit with him. We've still got this Blitzer here who could do it, if we want to go after his Witch Elves. We are really covering these players on the left here. I suppose these guys aren't too threatening being on the ground and movement 6. And we are going to bring this Blodge Stepper over to at least give him a little bit of respect. The Dark Elves, though, have the Pro Elves pretty well under control. This Wrestler being on the ground is definitely a big deal, because otherwise this piece could probably get away. Movement 10 carrying is unfortunate as well, because if this piece was up front and able to get away and say this leader was carrying the ball, we have a different game, right? We have the Dark Elves playing much more safe. As it is, they can afford to get more aggressive now and remove the Pro Elves options. What is slightly worrisome is if this Blitzer here gets knocked down somehow. The Pro Elves could run a player. They could run this Blitzer specifically up in this area, 2 GFIs, and it is out of range except for marking. It's only in mark range, it's not in blitz range. If they somehow get the ball to this Blitzer, which is easier said than done when it's got 3 tackle zones on it. We do have the Strength 4 Moranian here, who could remove 1 potentially, as we immediately fail a dodge, first action. Unfortunate for Steen. It looks like he is going after the Palm Witch. We'll take the 2+ here and smack the Witch. No knockdown. We'll have Diving Tackle on our at least, but we were definitely hoping for something more with that Blitz. The rest of the team out there just standing up. I don't really see how the Pro Elves keep this ball safe this turn. Not with a Movement 8 Witch kicking around, not with a Palm Witch still up. He can't really screen any side to punt it and be able to abuse that Movement 10 to retrieve. Movement 10 is just taking a step forward. It means he won't get surfed, which is important. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's off diving tackle, so we probably won't see that player helping. Although we might not have much of a choice. It's a 4+ dodge versus taking 2 GFIs of this player, or this player. We're not going to be moving Moranian, so this player won't be doing much to help. That's a wrestle, freeing up this player to go down and be an assist if we want. And 2 options here, either the 175% or the 2 GFIs for an assist for this Wrestle Witch to come and take the hit. I believe, yep, that is the Wrestle Catcher going down, only a stun. I also just wouldn't hate just like throwing the 1 die. The 1 dice honestly isn't that bad an option because this player doesn't have dodge and you both have wrestle. It'd be a 1 dice into a 1 dice and you can push him up and up to make the recovery better. And with 4 rerolls you can afford a bit of risk. 4 rerolls for, what, 6 more turns? Yeah, or no, 5 more turns. Math. A 1 dice on Moranian, if you get a push, you could run this Blodge Guard Blitzer down to be an assist with only 1 GFI, I believe. We're just going to use him for an assist on a 2 dice for Moranian, though. There's a lot of dice being thrown that aren't dice on the ball. But we're finding results. We're throwing powers at blockers. And now most of a Pro Elf team is on the floor. That assist tells me we're taking this hit, and then we're probably throwing the 1 die. And we're throwing the 1 die first. Meaning the Witch is also a recovery option. I don't know why we went from that angle, but it doesn't matter because we got it both down. We absolutely should have been going from this bottom angle out to get the ball closer to our elves. I don't think we pile that on, as tempting as it is. We want that Witch Elf standing up. Because that wasn't Mighty Blow on the armor. That could have been a nice removal. And that's a skull. Rerolled to a POW. I don't like taking that block over dodging. Because now the Pro Elves just stand up and pick the ball back up. It feels like that sack accomplished nothing because we didn't move players closer to the ball. Yeah, the ball is farther from the Pro Elves as well, but you have the movement 10 right here who, because of a wrestle, wasn't going to get armor broken. And we have this thrower right here too who could also recover. The Pro Elves have the recovery options. The Dark Elves didn't because they took, like, every block that they possibly could. And sometimes you get rewarded with that and you get a big removal, like you kill Moranian. or if his blitzer gets killed. But we didn't. We got 2 stuns. I don't think it was worth it. Ooh, where's the last reroll gone for Pro Elves? Yeah, that's the thing, right? If he didn't leave that, if he didn't take that block, then this guy could run off as a passing option. But he could have given up one of these blocks over here that was slightly less consequential. We didn't need to hit Meridian that turn. That was a lot of commitment. And that's an inaccurate pass. That is pretty accurate. I would have liked to have seen maybe ignoring the hit on Meridian and using those pieces to short the backline instead. So you can use this Dark Elf Blitzer to go and play the ball. Now, I think we have to make the hit with his Blitzer, right? Because he has tackle. He is the tackle in range. And we're recovering with the Agi 5 and chucking it downfield. And I think the Dark Elves score this turn. Yeah, I wouldn't have hated a handoff to a thrower, but the thrower I don't think would have been able to avoid an intercept. A 2+ for the reroll for the pass versus just a 4+. I think you're right. I think that might be the better move. And yeah, you would have been able to avoid the intercept threat and thrown from the same spot. Yeah, I don't really know why we didn't stand up this wrestle piece. I guess he doesn't want him to take a hit, but these 2 players with the ball out there weren't going to be hitting this wrestle catcher. Agi 5 is not going to be recovering, it's just going to be the assist instead, which means this blitzer is probably the recovery once we've moved this piece off the ball, hopefully. Sidestep, if he goes down, if he gets knocked down, I can see him moving onto the ball. If he doesn't get knocked down, he'll move above the ball. No, I really won't like it if he takes this block. Please don't take that block. I'm okay with this one. This one's fine. Although not getting a knockdown's a shame. Oh yeah, this piece as well. This piece would have been good on its feet, too. Definitely could have moved over here and helped screen. No, we are taking this hit. I really don't like that. This absolutely is our blitz, but once again, we have no ball recovery after that hit. And you can get away with this against some teams, but you can't really against Pro Elves. Eventually this is going to bite them, and the Pro Elves are going to get the touchdown. Especially if this isn't a knockdown. If this isn't a knockdown, the Dark Elves are in big trouble. And it's not. We've burned the reroll on it. I think that's worth it. Oh, and we get the break too. That is an incredibly lucky armor break. And that's probably bailed Motlee out. And we're not going to get the pickup. We're not going to get the catch. The Pro Elves might be able to make something out of that scatter. Yeah, no reroll makes things very tough. I think that movement 6 lineman there can get out of range of every single Dark Elf player if it gets the ball. Yeah, left field is wide open. If this player gets the ball, he is home free. And the Pro Elves get their touchdown that they probably shouldn't have. Instead, he's going to run off and try and pick up a ball, though. And fail. Not great for the Pro Elves. Not getting the knockdown there is a shame, but Fiagi 5 can just run around and pick it up anyway, 2+. Most of the Pro Elf team was still on the floor and that turnover. Yeah, again, not standing up for Wrestler. And I think this is all Motlee's game now. If we get the ball on Misagi 5-piece, we could even score right now if we wanted to. I don't think Motlee will, though, because I think Motlee can also get this ball safe. Palm Witch is still available for blitzing. I almost would have liked to have seen the Palm Witch go after his movement 10-piece, because that is an insanely valuable removal to potentially get. Instead, we're just going after his leader thrower, which honestly doesn't do it for me, compared to the potential from hitting that wrestle piece. As we see the beautiful Witch Elf Palm animation. It's one of my favorites. That gives us nothing. So yeah, we have 4 pieces down here to K-Drift, and we have the Agi5 to pick up, if we wanted to go that route. We can also just mark the crap out of a Pro Elves, and chuck the ball to a Blodger. Moranian, with him having Loner and the Pro Elves having no rerolls, is effectively neutralized. And that is a very slippery ball today. Finally have the ball in hand. Are we passing to the Blodger? He'd need a GFI to score as well. Yeah, the more I look at it, the more I would have wanted to see a Palm Witch go after his Rackle piece, because that is a game-changing player. And there goes the ball. The Pro Elves can score this turn, and it's not that difficult. This piece isn't on tackle. Moranian can 2+ over here. Or even, yeah, he could throw the GFI as well, and his Wrestler can be the assist. His Blitzer can go pick it up, run past, and chuck it to the catcher out there, and the Pro Elves score. Or they can just ignore tackle zones, as you do with Elves, chuck the ball now and score. The Dark Elves need an intercept here. They could have had this ball much safer. Pass is good, catch is good, and it's a Pro Elf touchdown. Elves doing elf things. And Pro Elves are even going to get a turn to stalling. Which might be a miscalculation, because this Blitzer can still reach. We still have our Blitz though. If we knock this guy down, which we don't, we can at least push him off of him, but we're not. And now we're in blitzing range. Steen bailed himself out, and then threw himself right back into the frying pan. And the Dark Elves are right back in it. We can clear this Blitzer off. And then this Strength 4 can run away without diving tackle. And hit the Wrestler. Yeah, Volpez, you're right. He hasn't been standing up players. His entire backfield is still on the ground. Hey, Shao, thanks for a sub. How's it going, bud? I tend to agree with you, Crystal Hunter. I don't think Steen deserves anything he got last turn. He's been playing pretty sloppy for most of the game. He had his touchdown. He had it. There was only one player who could reach, and he was based next to somebody. We had a 2 dice on this blitzer, and if we got our knockdown, we were home free. Hell, even if we didn't get our knockdown, we could have blitzed in a way that pushes him down, and the blitzer is completely out of range. And instead, we hit the strength 4 piece and pushed him into range. He is the better blitzer by far than this guy because he doesn't have dodge, and this piece is strength 4. We also only have 2 scoring threats, one carrying the ball, the other based on a tackle player, who is going to punch him this turn, or right now. Probably after, he does kind of need this knockdown, doesn't he? And this is a 1 dice right now. He could bring this witch elf up? No, he can't. He can't bring this witch elf up. He can't bring the guard guy up. We could bring this guard player up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'd be a GFI from somebody to be the assist. Or to cancel that assist, rather. You probably use this blitzer. I would much rather throw this 2 dice with tackle. Look for knockdowns first, both down second. And then make the 4+ dodge. The danger, of course, if you don't knock that player down, he's in the way of his strength 4, and you've suddenly thrown that away. We are taking the hit, though. We need a knockdown here. And we get it. It's a 2+ dodge. 2+ dodge, 2 GFIs, and a block against a wrestle piece. Wrestle is still pretty close to losing the game, though, because that means this piece can still pick up the ball, and that's a GFI fail. We have our knockdown. If we get the stun here, it's massive. We don't get the stun. We do get the scatter out. And it is weak. We have nobody who can go recover that. The saving grace is this catcher is still in tackle zones, but it's a 3+2+2+ for Steen to get his score. There's nobody on the Dark Elf team who can do anything about that. It's still tough, yeah, because we don't have a reroll, but it's tougher than I think it should have been. The scatter is lucky. That scatter out was good. The throw back in was lucky for Steen. The fact that Steen even had that opportunity was pretty lucky. That Agi5 player really dropped the ball, literally. But Steen shouldn't have had that opportunity, or Motlee, rather, shouldn't have had that blitz opportunity to begin with, so I suppose all's fair. I don't like that we're throwing dice before going for a ball, because none of this matters, because we don't have Mighty Blow. All of these are armor 8, except for the Witch Elf. We are going out. Good, good. Pickup fails. The score is on for Motlee. We have our Witch Elf scoring threat. This blitzer is in handoff range, potentially. Or if we don't blitzer this guy, we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So no, we would need to make a pass here. I'm in GFI to hand off to the Witch. We need to hand off to this Witch, though, because it's less dice. Yeah, there is some justice in this world. I wouldn't have hated pushing the carrier into the end zone there. Yeah, putting him in the corner, I think, is a better move. I think you're right on that, Spoonie. It's 1 extra dodge, which is a big deal when you don't have a reroll. And it looks like we're going for a scatter out, which I don't mind. That wrestle catcher is strong, and Motlee's not scoring. That's unfortunate. I think Motlee deserved a touchdown this half. But that's Blood Bowl. So it'll be 0-0, and instead of focusing on trying to get the ball downfield, Motlee can look at all the hits he has and pick and choose. We get to hit both blitzers, only one of tackles, sadly. We get to hit his thrower. We don't get any hits down there, sadly. That's not a knockdown. Which can come help assist on his thrower. It's another hit on armor 7. I don't hate the foul in the movement 10 at all. And you can get a decent amount of assists on it. I still think the Palmer should have been hitting the movement 10 2 turns ago, but that's the past. Pro Elf Armor has been holding pretty strong. They've been getting stunned a lot. No foul. That movement 10's a big piece. I think we'll get another hit on it this half, though. All's not lost. Dark Elves only taking the 1 death. They didn't take that many blocks this game. Pro Elves have taken no damage with that KO wake up. I think Motlee played well enough. I think Motlee definitely could have had that touchdown. But I think he tried to make it happen too fast. Once he burned that reroll on the pickup, he could have brought his remaining players back to cage around that Agi 5 piece, and he probably had the score off that. If not a near guaranteed draw compared to what we wound up having, which was a very dicey and lucky fail on the pickup attempt draw for the first half. Yeah, the foul there would mean it's 10 versus 11 for Dark Elves. With the line of scrimmage hits, they could probably equalize that. And make it at least 10 versus 10 off those 4 hits. But yeah, Crystal Hunter, it's looking pretty good for the Dark Elves right now. With the amount of guard they have, they should be able to put up a pretty formidable offense against this Pro Elf team. This setup leaves movement 10 open. Even if we don't get all our knockdowns here, this setup leaves movement 10 open to a hit. This is the most important player for Pro Elves, I think. Because this is their 1 turn. As well as their sacking, and apparently their ball carrying, this is their 1 turning player. If this player is alive at the end of a half, the Pro Elves can take it to overtime. If this player gets the ball, the Pro Elves can probably run it in from just about anywhere in the pitch. I don't think there's a world where this movement 10 catcher doesn't get hit this turn. Maybe not with a Palmer, but I don't think there's a world where he doesn't get hit. And I don't really know why Steen didn't swap this movement 10 with the wrestle catcher, who is much less valuable and isn't doing anything compared to his wrestle tackle piece over here than over here. Of all the players on this team, that's a player you protect. We could also go for the leader and try and get rid of that reroll. This is overtime format. But I expect we'll have more rerolls on more hits on the leader than we will on the movement 10. I also just really like seeing good players like this die, so I'm biased on who I want him to hit. That's the one hit we didn't need to knock down on to get a hit onto this wrestle piece. Oh, we might be surfing it. No, we're not surfing this wrestle piece. It's not worth it. Still eating up plenty of hits, though. Plenty of Dark Elf actions. He's done his job. We'll see if he dies now for it. No, he's perfectly fine. Yeah, Crystal Hunter, the Dark Elves are definitely in control. I think taking the push signifies to me that he's going for the leader. Because now he can't get in there. So yeah, I think we are going for the leader. My thinking with taking the hit on this catcher was you could make it fairly non-committal by just marking this thrower and blitzing with the strength 4 lineman. You blitz in and you just dodge right back out. Can only hope, Crystal Hunter. No knockdown on the first hit means this witch is going to be kind of exposed. No knockdown on the second hit. An unfortunate line of scrimmage for the Pro Elves. For the Dark Elves, rather. Pretty fortunate for the Pro Elves. Eating up all of these actions and only eating 1 knockdown. That wasn't an armor break. We're going for the random lineman instead of the thrower. I guess you don't dodge out from tackle by taking this hit after the hit. Because there's no way we pile this on and we dodge right back out. And Pro Elves can hit that Palm Witch now. Again, fairly non-committal. You drop the guard in here. You drop it here so you don't push the witch onto a player still. Or you can go and harass the back. So yeah, it looks like the pros are just going to go harass the back and try and keep him honest. And there's the assist for a potential hit on the Witch Elf. Yeah, there's a lot going on without a lot actually happening. And there's a POW on the Witch Elf. But she's fine. It's not a bad foul of a witch here. 1 assist on armor 7 is pretty decent. We spend the reroll here, getting this wrestler out of dodge. This wrestle lineman. We have this rookie lineman here who would make a great fouling piece. And that's the leader reroll gone, so this leader is expendable. That's a break, it's only a stun, no send-off. Oh yeah, some of these names on this team are pretty fantastic. Kate McKildum, Mel Gibson. It's pretty great. I'm a fan. Yeah, no jump up piling on now. And if the Pro Elves could even turn this into another foul next turn, that's even better than this one. We'll see which way the Dark Elves decide to go with it, if they try and surround this Witch and protect her. With a threat in the backfield, they can't be so loose with their cage like they were last turn. Or loose with their defense, rather. They have to keep that back open because both of these players could be a major nuisance to the ball. The Dark Elves could always guard corner their cage, and it'll be pretty safe from any sacking attempts. Movement 10 is pretty safe. We could see a hit on the movement 10 here, maybe. Drop his guard piece in there and you have it. It won't get him much ground, though. Dark Elves have time. They only need to score once. There's no rush here to get the ball downfield. We're positioning to get a hit eventually with this kicker, maybe even on the movement 10, depending on who we blitz and where we position the rest of our team. That guard stepping in there kind of makes me think we're going after this catcher at some point this turn. And it looks like our cage is going to be around here. Yeah, we'll move 2 players up to these corners. I don't like going back like this and being wide against this Pro Elf team, though. Taking that hit, yeah, I keep going back to this, because you've just made this sack attempt easier. And we're not hitting the movement 10, we're just hitting this lineman instead. We've protected the Witch well enough. Exactly, yeah, you don't want this blitzer or this catcher to get in position on your ball carrier. They're both dangerous. I don't entirely understand the hit sequencing over here. We could have gotten a hit on the catcher if we wanted. I don't really understand why we're hitting this lineman instead. That's tackle, that's a knockdown. That's chain pushing this guy out to somewhere. We can bring another player right in here, slot him in here, and take this hit. No, we have to get the chain pushes in here too. Never mind. I thought I saw a chain push where you can get this player over here, but not quite. We didn't need that assist. Oh no, we did because that's a strength 4 piece. We did need that assist from Iranian to take the hit. Yeah, no, I don't think he can stays. He could have been pushed up, yes. There was a chance. A lot of hits in his turn, yeah. Motlee left a lot of bases at the end of his turn. Only so far that armor rate will get you. Both teams, considering the amount of blocks, have not taken that much damage this game. You usually expect more out of an elf game with this many hits. But Pro Elves especially, going into the second half with no damage was surprising. And with that hit, we'll see the diving tackle step onto a ball and be annoying. That'll almost certainly draw the blitz. And the Pro Elves putting the pressure on. Both teams showing their prowess defensively. Motlee putting up a fantastic defense last half, and Steen doing a really good job on defense this half. The left side wrestler went up, putting him over there. I wouldn't hate that. It does leave him pretty stuck. It's going to be hard to get the ball safe this turn. We don't have our tackle as free as we'd like to make that hit. We can dodge out like that and use our blitz to punch this guy. Is that the guy? No, this is the guy. That's the guy who just moved. This is definitely a difficult puzzle for Motlee to break out of. And I wouldn't be surprised if next turn we see a sack attempt. We are going to dodge out here and hit the blitzer. We're not going to find a knockdown. We have to burn a reroll on it. 2 rerolls in 3 turns for Motlee. No break, and there's nowhere particularly safe for a ball other than back. Not unless we kill Motlee here on a jump up hit. We need to remove Motlee pretty much, because otherwise he can probably cause some issues. And we need to knock this guy down. There is still a gap here for a hit, and it's a based cage, so it still isn't particularly safe. That helps deal with it a bit. We need this knockdown though, and we need to knock down Motlee, I think. We don't find this knockdown. I suppose we don't need this knockdown, we just don't need to follow it. We pretty much need to knock down Motlee on this first hit though. Jump up's good, knockdown's good. A removal on Motlee would be a pretty big deal. That's a scary piece to have on a pitch for an elf team. I don't either. I don't know why he kept him based on the cage here. That seems like just asking for trouble. No break there is a shame. We definitely wanted to try and kill Motlee, but we don't pile on a non-armor break. Yeah, I don't really understand why he left this cage based. The saving grace of that is the guard is over here. So he won't be able to find a 2 dice on his player. But what we can do is push this witch into this hole. All we need is a push. And this player can throw a 1 die on this blitzer. All we need is a push. And we push this, we pop the ball out, and we can make a sack attempt like that. We're not going to do that though. We're just going to blitz this guard player and put Motlee on the ball. Steen had the potential there to steal and score if his movement 10 catcher still open. And this blodged player still open. I think we could have seen Steen steal a ball and score that turn if he hadn't taken that blitz. There's an unfortunate set of double skulls. 2 rerolls for both teams. I imagine neither of them wanted to go to overtime at this point. We do still have our hit on the ball, but it feels more expensive than it should have been. And we've used our movement 10 now. To me, at least, the big plus side of the plan I was looking at... Oh, there's a skull. That's unfortunate. To me, the big plus side of the plan I was looking at was this movement 10 is still open to receive the ball after the play. I mean, he could just run out here and you score. This is a pretty ugly scrum now, though. Just about every player is based. Yeah, these are very condensed elves. It's pretty rare you see this kind of ball up of a game with elves. If only there was a wizard misdays. Burn all the elves. A 9 elf fireball. What a beauty. Yeah, the dark elves are pretty much surrounded now. The only way they'll find space is if they remove pro elf players, which they've had trouble doing so far. It turns out pro elves are actually a very good team when they don't die. With that player being stunned, we can punch a movement 10 out of the way at least. And that'll get tackle off the ball. Let's give him a good smack with the kicker. And if this player stands up, the Witch Elf has 2 dice into 2 dice on this leader. This strength 4 piece, I believe, stood up earlier. No, it didn't. We could even see his chain push here with his strength 4 onto Moranian. I believe he'll have the assist to pop some players around. The IG5 is going to blitz through the movement 10 Rackle piece. Who survives? The Dark Elves could have actually broken out in misdirection. They could have hit him with the kicker, blitzed his lineman down, and slowly but surely dodge their players out into this region. I'm not entirely sure where the ball goes now with that blitz. So we are moving out onto this right side of a pitch. We're just giving ourselves a little bit less space by not hitting this player. And we are going after the leader thrower. We are going to find our knockdown. I would say getting it on the second hit is ideal, and we finally have a casualty on the Pro Elf side. As an MNG thrower. Missing the leader next game is going to stink for these Pro Elves if they make it to the next round. The Witch Elf, since she got the knockdown on the second hit of Frenzy, can now participate in the screening. The Problem Child still has a hit on the ball though, its movement 10 piece. And it has an opening to get out. Exactly, how do you screen this from a movement 10 Rackle piece? The answer is you don't. Not with this player also standing up. And that's why I would have liked to have seen the kicker take the hit on this piece. And then blitzing this lineman. It's not a good foul, though, because of this player. It's only a one... It's a no assist foul, even. Unless you bring this guy all the way around for a foul, which is a good amount of dice. Dodge skill used, which means we can't be too greedy, but we are going to be greedy anyway. We have a little bit of a screen. Well, at least force the movement 10 to throw some dodge dice. And we can throw some blocks. We find a lucky pal on the other catcher up here. A lucky break. Not a removal. Still have a hit on Moranian if we want it. And we go after the other blodger and we find another pal. Blodge, the fakest of skill combos. Proving why it's a meme. The movement 8 Witch Elf is still on the floor. She could have run around. We find a break. There is another removal for Dark Elves. It's finally turning on for them. And that's a big player to remove too, with guard and diving tackle. We're not going to Appo it. I would have... Yeah, okay, she is going to stand up at least. I would have liked to have seen her run out over here. I wouldn't have hated an Appo on that player. That's a big deal, Blitzer. It's your only guard. So it's a 2+, 4+, 1 dice hit on the ball right now with wrestle and tackle. And I think that's our game plan. If it scatters out, we have a chance for a good recovery. And we have, I think this lineman's in scoring range. It's a failed dodge, instant reroll. I didn't even see that you could do this with just 2 pluses and make it a 2-die even. We don't have the reroll for the dodge, but we don't need to because we're moving 10. We don't need to dodge. I forgot how fast this player is. That is not a great scatter for Pro Elves. This lineman is in scoring range. We don't have a free thrower to go pick up that ball. We chose to bench one instead of playing, and instead of choosing to play a lineman. And we failed the dodge to get into the ball. The Dark Elves should be able to recover this. The Dark Elves can surf the movement 10. And I think you go for it. It's a shame this movement 8 wasn't more centered on the pitch, because she could do it then. And I'd much rather do it with her than I would with this Witch Elf. We've cleared off the lineman that was marking her and knocked him out. The Witch Elf is free. We need to stand this player up. Or at least somehow get a mark on this catcher. Ideally we mark this lineman, but we don't necessarily need to either. The 1 dice on the last hit is fine. It's a 3+. And once we've completed the surf, we should be able to either get the ball to the movement 8 Witch and have her run off with it. And the Dark Elves will have the rest of the Pro Elf team down here screened off. Or the Splitzer can just pick it up and we can cage up like in this kind of area. Yeah, the Pro Elf armor is finally starting to catch up with him. They started this half with no removals. We've now had the leader thrower injured, the good blitzer KO'd, and a wrestler KO'd. The Pro Elf scoring threat is still on its feet. If something crazy were to happen to end of a turn, it would be an issue. The counter assist for the surf is marked. The surf assist is up. The blitz is on. And we've rolled 2 POWs. We'll pile this on, I imagine. Or maybe we won't. We aren't going to pile it on. We're going to leave him there. Leave him in a mess of tackle zones. The Pro Elves don't have Frenzy to counter-surf you. And they don't have the marks in the right place to do it either. Motlee's definitely disappointed to not get that surf or even an armor break on that catcher. The Movement 8 Witch is back relevant to the play. I imagine we see this Blotch Stepper pick up a ball. And honestly, if he just stays where he is, he's pretty safe. Without the guard in play, this Movement 10 can't really do too much to him. Alternatively, you can just run out this way. Give him the 4+, 3+, 2+ to go sack you. But we have knocked down the scoring threat, so it's not that scary. I'd like to see this wrestle catcher stand up and move around over here, so he has that catch scoring threat. Instead, he's going to pull him back into a play. And Moranian's going to stand up, punch this boy, and then I imagine step back 1 square and go threaten the ball. Oh, and he's gotten a casualty. Gene Hackman III, I would Apo this. We do, and it's no casualty. We've saved the guard blitzer's life. And we failed the dodge to get the Movement 10 to safety. He doesn't die. Lucky him. The Dark Elves have a free surf on misalignment if they take it. I guess it's not that free. There's counter surf potential. What I would like is for this, what's his face? This kicker to get freed up to go and kick this catcher in the face. We do need to be conscious of Moranian, though. Strength 4, Agi 4. He could still find a sack on Miss Blitzer. No, it's absolutely not over yet, Crystal Hunter. Yeah, that Movement 10's having a bit of a rough day. I mean, Crystal Hunter, I was saying that last half was over and the Dark Elves had a pretty guaranteed score. And then that happened. That whole mess in that corner of the pitch. Is this going to OT? I don't think Steen scores this half. I think either Motlee wins this or we go to overtime, yeah. I kind of don't want him to take this surf because I can see next turn Steen taking the counter surf and then putting pressure on the ball. But we're going to use the blitz for it, so no, this is fine. Because now we can get this witch to safety. We've removed another Pro Elf player. I don't expect Motlee to score now, Crystal Hunter. He should be able to get this ball safe this turn. If he scores now, though, I absolutely agree this goes to overtime, and the Pro Elves play Pro Elf ball and 2-turn. With that Movement 10 piece, it's incredibly easy. We find a pal on the Blitzer. Blodge proving time and time again it is garbage. So we have two players I expect to be screening with. I expect this kicker to punch this lineman, and we'll be using these two players to screen off the ball. We can try and run with strength 4 through to help out, or this dodge player. This dodge player can dodge through that tackle zone and come help out in this area. The lineman's not in range to foul that catcher, which is unfortunate. We have a mark on Moranian. I'd like to see this guy dodge through after we've moved these 3 players and taken that hit. Instead, we're going to keep this catcher honest, meaning we'll only have maximum 3 players to screen the ball off with from Moranian and movement 10, which doesn't feel like a lot. In fact, there's a part of me that wouldn't hate pulling the ball back into this pocket here. We could side cage. We do have sidestep. There is no grab. Once we've moved this player off, this player can move down to here, and we can put the ball in here. And that feels pretty safe to me. I think that's the best Motlee gets without pulling the ball back. And I don't expect him to pull the ball back. This guard player needs to move into this area to stop Moranian from going in and getting a free 2 dice. But he has to do a lot of GFIs to get into that kind of area. Instead of marking on this end, I think that's enough dice to stop him from doing the Moranian sack. I think that might be enough. But my worry is now Motlee is forced to score next turn, and the Pro Elves get to 2-turn, which is fine, because it's Pro Elves, and they can 2-turn with a movement 10 catcher. Moranian fails the GFI, you cannot reroll this. And now this should be a pretty straightforward stall for a turn from the Dark Elves. I hate to see it. I think this elf team can stop a 1-turn metal. I think they have enough sidestep. Oh no, these Dark Elves don't have enough sidestep to stop the 1-turn. They only have the 1. Where's the second sidestep? I only see 1 Dark Elf sidestep, and it's on this guy. Nope, the Witch is not sidestep. The Witch is stunning the diving tackle blitzer, though. Yeah, you stop this 1-turn by stomping on the 1-turner. Yeah, I think you're right on that metal. I think you can 1-turn movement 10 with sidestep. In fact, yeah, you definitely can. Yeah, you were looking at the blitzer's skills. Yeah, exactly. 1 push is easy. And it looks like we're going to stall center field. Which, all this talk about sidestep 1-turning, I highly recommend you guys go and check out the Arch XL 1-turn against Misteyas, I believe. Or no, it was against Andy Davo, where Arch XL pulled off just a brilliant 1-turn against Andy Davo that, well, he almost pulled it off. And he failed right at the end. It was heartbreaking. I highly recommend going and checking out that clip somewhere. I don't know where it is. Yeah, it was Davo. Was it Davo who did it for Sarge? I thought it was Arch who did it versus Davo. Yeah, Arch did it to Davo, yeah. Yeah, oh, he failed the dodge. I remember him doing all of the hard bit and then failing the easy parts. But it was a brilliant play by Arch XL. One of the best single turns of Blood Bowl I've seen. We have our scoring threat. It's a rookie lineman. We have our second scoring threat. Or alternatively, we have the Pro Elves running away, depending on how you want to look at it. I think it's the latter. We have Moranian trying the cage dive, failing the 4+. This won't get rerolled. And we have a Dark Elf touchdown. We don't have any hits here that you take because everyone is on the floor or has run away. So we just run this in, and Keanu Reaver here finds himself one SPP away from his next level. And the ball goes to Steen for his one-turn attempt. No, you do not foul the one-turner. If you were fouling the one-turner, you were doing it 2 turns ago, last turn. You don't do it on turn 16 where you're standing next to the touchdown of the ball. Both the Pro Elves wake up, so we'll have the guard for the one turn, which is helpful, makes things slightly easier. We'll see what Motlee does to try and stop that movement 10. And we're doing the lazy touchdown defense. The movement 10 does not have dodge. Steen does have the reroll for this one turn. I suppose I don't mind doing it like this. Because stopping that movement 10 from getting that one push is pretty difficult. I suppose it's more like 2 pushes because it only needs 1 push forward. Yeah, movement 10 can just blitz through a push. And yeah, the tackle needs to get moved around. He needs this tackle over here, and he needs this tackle like over here. He can definitely cut. Well, actually, it doesn't matter where the tackle is because the movement 10 doesn't have dodge. And yeah, you spread the line of scrimmage. I don't like not spreading it. Because now it's super easy with the blitz. It's just the one blitz now. True, Doc Mark. Better than your one-turn defense. We should, yeah, like you're saying, Crystal Hunter, we should be able to find this hit without the blitz. Doing it with a blitz is super easy. We'll see what Steen opts to do. And when you're making your push through, you absolutely try and hit through the Witch Elf, because if you find that knockdown, that could be a juicy removal as well. Because both down's already a failure state because you have Wrestle. So you absolutely just try and go for that Witch Elf if you plan to do that 1 dice instead of the dodges. Yeah, the movement 10 does have tackle, yeah. That's why I'm saying you go after the witch. Because that's a potential for a juicy removal. Yeah, the 1 dice is always going to be better. 4+ versus 3+. You're right, Crystal Hunter, yeah. This is a blitz chain push setup. Unless he plans on running these guys around back. So it looks like he's going to push from misdirection. Either he's pushing from misdirection and in and out, or he's going to run players around, and we're going to hit this guy, who will push like that. No, who is it you hit? You hit this guy, I think. Push like that, and like that, like that. So movement 10 would need to be here if you wanted to do it without a blitz, I think. Yeah, you hit the guard guy. You hit him, you push him to there, and you would need the movement 10 to be there, because then you're pushing like that, and he goes there, that push goes there, and he gets popped out like that. And you're in range. And I'm pretty sure you have enough players to do that. And of course, Nerves of Steel means you make the pass early, because it decreases the pass range. Yeah, Coaching King, we were just talking about that, how usually you want to have them spread out for the 1-turn defense, with the hardest to move players on the edges. So you would want the same line you have now with a sidestepper here and a strength 4 on the far end, I think. Changing lever, nice. A perfect scatter for Pro Elves right next to a thrower, who can pick it up and chuck it. We are making an extra push here. We've made this 1 turn harder. We just needed to make 1 hit and we had the pop out. Instead we're going like this. I think he's trying to eliminate GFIs is what's happening here. Yeah, Steen is trying to eliminate GFIs from a 1 turn. That's what's happening. So he's removing a 2+ by sacrificing the blitz for his first hit. But yeah, no blitz for getting through the line. Instead, we're removing 1 GFI. We might be able to remove both of the Moranian hit. Run this wrestler around here, run the catcher around there. I agree, Practical Snow. I would much rather have that 2+ than the 4+, 3+ going through that line. And True Blue is right, Crystal is very good at this video game. At this game, it's not just a video game. We find our POW. No GFIs for 1 turn, just the dodges. We have the ball in hand. It's a 3+ pass, unless we choose to pass to him and hand off to the catcher. I'd say that's a better way to do things, because you have built-in rerolls for everything. Catch is good, you just have the dodges. First dodge fails, a 4+ is bad. Reroll is good, we are through, and we are off to overtime. And in an elf off, whoever gets the kick is almost guaranteed to win the game. Good luck stopping either of these elf teams from scoring as quickly as they want. Especially that pro elf squad. Oh, what was Jimmy saying, Miss Days? And the Dark Elves have won the toss. The Pro Elves did do a very good job on defense last half. I think I favor the Pro Elves more on defense than I favor the Dark Elves on defense. That being said, the Pro Elves have no rerolls for this defense. The Dark Elves have 2. A big part of why the Pro Elf defense succeeded is because they were aggressive and they threw dice where they needed to. Without the reroll, they can't be nearly as aggressive, I think. And I agree, Doc Mark. These Pro Elves have been remarkably healthy. They've taken a lot of armor breaks, too. They've been very lucky on injury dice, rolling almost entirely stuns. We've seen 3 knockouts and a casualty this game for the Pro Elves. The Dark Elves have taken a KO, I think. No, they took 2 casualties. They took this dead lineman turn 1, and they had the armor busted guard blitzer in that last half. Considering all the armor 7 and Miss Palm Witch kicking around, I'd say that's pretty surprising that this Pro Elf squad is still able to field 11. If this is a blitz kickoff event, then, I mean, it's anyone's game. The Pro Elves don't have kick, so it'll be pretty unpredictable where the ball goes. They aren't going to be able to like kick over to this side, and if it's a blitz, they win the game. But if this kick is on the right side, I think the Pro Elves can easily get under the ball. Even with them trying to defend from the blitz. If this is a blitz, I see the Pro Elves getting themselves under the ball and hoping. But it's not a blitz, it's nice weather. Beautiful Blood Bowl weather. And the ball scatters right next to the IG5. We start with a 1 die on accident, I imagine. That's scary. That's a scary mistake. But it's fine, we've stunned the lineman. That is a very scary mistake to make. Two for 2 on stuns on the line. With the Palm Witch yet to shoot. Of course, the Palm Witch being the Palm Witch, she doesn't find an armor break on the lineman. I wouldn't be surprised, this is side step, so we're not surfing there. I wouldn't be surprised if we just see a hit on one of these random linemen over here. From, say, like, just anybody, honestly, other than the Witch Elf, to avoid Frenzy. And yeah, I think, this guy's just gonna come around and blitz this guy just because it's a safe hit. Helps defend the Witch a bit too, standing there, as long as you don't follow up. Pro Elves remaining on the pitch. It's honestly been one of the big stories of his game. These have been remarkably survivable Pro Elves. They've taken a lot of blocks. We have our scoring thread out. We have Agi 5 for passing, so a pass play isn't out of the question in this game. We need to be careful of this diving tackle blitzer who can get around and mess with us quite a bit. In fact, both blitzers can get into the backfield right now. Pickup is good. I almost wouldn't have hated seeing the handoff to a Witch Elf, and the Witch slotting up in here, and being ultra safe. Right now, I think we blitz through his guard blitzer, and we put diving tackle on the ball. Diving tackle, sidestep. Yeah, Shatan, like I said, the Dark Elves have fantastic team names. Definitely one of the better themes in the league, I think. Yep, aggressive application of the diving tackle. The movement 10 is moving into the backfield. I think if he wanted to, the movement 10 might have been able to make a sack this turn. We're going after the Witch, we're not finding a knockdown. Yeah, Kuchin King, this Dark Elf team has had quite a few doubles. This is a 4-guard Dark Elf team. That's pretty crazy. Four guard and palm. Means this Dark Elf team can stand up to bash teams. Moranian not moving. He's not going to wrestle that. There's no reason to. Which puts this Witch in a hard position, because I imagine you want her going after a diving tackle and killing it. Because you can't hit this right now without it stepping onto the ball. That's what he wants from this. Steen wants Motlee to hit this player without filling both these squares so he can sidestep onto the ball. The right side is definitely a bit open. We could see a blitz on this lineman, and the Dark Elves flood into this area again. The ball isn't marked right now as well. We don't even need to blitz this lineman. We could bring in an assist. Have this Dark Elf blitzer run down here. It's a 2+, no tackle. And we can just chuck the ball to him. We could score this turn if we wanted to. It'd be a 3+2+ if we manage to knock down this player. We are blitzing this lineman, which makes me think that we're going to next hit this lineman and set ourselves up in this area of the pitch. He can step back one if he wants, and we can cage up even around here with guard corners. Stepping over instead gives us a 2 dice onto Moranian again, which, if it's not a knockdown, puts him in the way of getting to the ball. Alternatively, we can punch this guy, and this guy can punch Moranian for 2 dice. Chain pushing somebody somewhere. Where is he chain pushing? I'm not sure. Could push this guy out. Could push this lineman in. I don't think that chain push is too consequential, though. It's just a happenstance. Or we can palm Moranian and free up the guard piece. And that's a break. We've used Mighty Blow so we don't pile this on, I don't think. I don't think we piled that on anyway, though. The stun is good enough, because I think we score it within 2 turns. This lineman being in here is a little bit worrisome for keeping the ball safe. Even with guard next to him, he could still stand up and throw a hit. Or at least be a nuisance. I don't entirely know where this lineman's going. So this is looking like a based cage then. If we're caging up way down here. These two are on diving tackle, so those aren't guaranteed dodges. We can bring the kicker around to here. He's got his guard here. The half die does help. Okay, he should be okay now. We're gonna have an eye cage. If he can get this lineman out here, he will. And that'll leave the ball pretty safe. It's not a knockdown. If this also isn't a knockdown, then we can't cover the back of a ball. Or we can just move it out into a 1 dice. Yeah, the Dark Elves are in a very strong position here. We've kept the diving tackle on this player, so it's still a 4+ dodge to get over there. Yeah, Crystal Hunter, I see what you're talking about now, with that right side being weak, because he doesn't have to worry about not having that piece here. And with the guard way out here, there is no 1 dice even on the ball for any player on this elf team. Yeah, exactly true, but Frenzy Trap him and then stay based. Yeah, I think what we have to hope for is busting open a side of a cage and shoving the diving tackle in there. And hoping it sticks well enough that he has to make that dodge. But if it's only 1 mark, we could also just throw it past of his lineman, and his lineman can run it in. Catcher does not open the cage. Not enough, at least. We can 4+ him in here. And that's a 1 dice. And that's the best we can do. That 1 dice was still available before, though, I think, Snow. Because we could have put the guard in here anyway with a 4+ same dice. You have Viracle. Viracle can still reach. Yeah, exactly. As movement 10, he can get wherever the hell he wants. Choosing to stand here for the assist was unfortunate. I don't think he had any other choice, but now that adds an extra dodge into the sack. Because we have no way to knock that player down. Guard is in. Guard is staying to the side, which makes me think we're playing conservative for this turn. Which is not what he needs. Exactly, Kuchen King. That movement 10 didn't do enough to warrant him being up there, when he could have been playing safety in the back and preventing plays like this. First dodge is good for the blitzer. Are we going in? We're going in, and we are in, but we sculled it. And that'll be the game. Exactly. Well, so, Shout, he's movement 10, which means he's super fast, right? I think you've picked that up by now. So he's not completely out of a play. We were just talking about him getting to it. But he was too far out, and he couldn't get behind the ball, and he was able to be screened off. Yeah, I almost would have just left him there on the ball. Game's not done yet for Motlee. He still has to not snake this last GFI. And I think we're getting ready. We're getting prepared just in case that does happen. If he walks into the corner, is he catchable? Yes. This player can reach. We're screening off. We might not be scoring this turn. He might choose to play it safe. Run the ball into here, and you can screen that off. Yeah, if he got that knockdown, he wouldn't be in range, and he'd be safe, I think. I think maybe this catcher can reach? Yeah, that catcher would be able to reach, potentially. Good on Motlee not taking the immediate chuck the GFI, making sure he's safe in doing so. And we failed the first GFI, or the first attempt. We have a reroll. No snake eyes here. That's a good touchdown for Motlee, and he'll take this game 2-1 over Steen. Well played to both coaches. That game was much closer than I think people might have thought it would have been. "21 armor breaks, and the Pro Elves were able to field 11 players every drive. 71 blocks succeeded. And only 3 KOs inflicted and 1 injury against these Pro Elves. With 71 blocks, this game should have been much more lopsided to Motlee. Against Armor 7, only taking 3 KOs and 1 casualty is insane for Pro Elves. He plays it more aggressive than that. That's surprising. "68% armor is really good for Pro Elves. The 50% pickup, though, is not. That's pretty unfortunate for him. Nothing too insane on the Dark Elf side. Yeah, let's see. There should be other players. Whose game is just starting, so you won't get spoiled for any other playoff games that are going on. Thanks for hanging out. This was definitely a fun game to cast. I'll be back in an hour's time for another playoff game. It'll be the One True Path versus Pork Squad. So going from Elves to Chaos. Definitely a change of pace. Oh, don't worry, Motlee. If I wasn't available to take this, we had someone available. That was a really fun game to watch. Thanks for playing it. And congrats on making it to round of 16. I'll see you guys over in Chabzu's stream.